I'm Chris Rook.
And I'm Patricia Lico, and this is Spoke TV, your source for local and campus news. In May, Lydia Hurley was hit by a truck while getting off her school bus and has since gone through intensive rehabilitation and treatment. The Kitchener-Waterloo community has rallied around the 13-year-old girl and provided much support to her and her family throughout these past few months. Spoke TV reporter Camila Rivera was at Lydia's official welcome home party.
Community support shone through the rain on Thursday afternoon as hundreds gathered to welcome Lydia Hurley home. Everyone went for different reasons. To some, Lydia was a stranger who needed some help. To others, she was family.
My friend knows Lydia personally, and I know it's had a big effect on her lately, so I'm just out here to show my support just like everybody else.
After an accident with a truck in May left the teenager in a coma, the community began to show their support for the family. Lydia's grandparents explain how overwhelmed the family was from the community's reaction.
Delighted, obviously. It's the driving back and forth to Toronto, and that was, keeping the family apart. And there's 2 young boys in this family that need mom and dad too, and now everybody can be part of it. And it's a symbol of her coming home, and the rest of her recovery will happen from home now.
Today has been a very joyful day. It brings some closure to the time in the hospital, first at Sick Children's and then at Peerview. And now Lydia is home for good, and this is a celebration.
And although the journey was difficult for everyone that knows her, Lydia finally made it home.
We are so grateful for all of the people, for all of the prayers, for all of the best wishes. We don't know half of the people here, but they have been praying for all of us, and that's very meaningful.
Hundreds of people from the community showed up in the rain and the cold wind to welcome Lydia Hurley home. A great show of support for both her friends and family. For Spoke TV, I'm Camila Rivera.
During November each year, men all over the world sporting mustaches in order to raise funds and awareness for men's health, specifically prostate cancer and men's health issues. Known as the Mo Bros, mustaches of all shapes and sizes are growing around campus. Mike Sellish gives you his take on what gives everyone their motivation.
From the military to the Wild West, the mustache represents authority, power, and intelligence. And every year, on November 1st, it becomes the symbol for men's health. The 2012 Movember Crusade kicked off this week, welcoming the soon-to-be cookie dusters. The Canadian Stash campaign holds fundraising events at local hotspots to raise money and awareness to male health issues. Official Movember rep Matt Matheson in Toronto explains the expanding mustache movement.
Movember now has become a global movement that last year had over 800,000 people participate, and to date they have raised almost $300 million, which is pretty amazing.
Registering for Movember is a simple process, allowing you to join online individually or with friends to form a team. After you've signed up, just follow the simple guidelines. Always start clean-shaven. Don't connect your mustache to your sideburns. Avoid contact with your chin. And as always, behave as a gentleman. Growing wild facial hair isn't everybody's cup of tea. Many associations, although not directly affiliated with Movember, find themselves receiving more attention and more contributions this time of year. Karen Griffiths, the manager of the Kitchener-Waterloo Cancer Society, explains how her organization helps assist the battle for healthy men everywhere.
Prostate cancer is the most common cancer in Canadian men. 1 in 7 men will develop prostate cancer in their lifetime. The Canadian Cancer Society tries to prevent cancer from happening in the first place. So last year the Canadian Cancer Society invested more than $2.4 million in world-class prostate cancer research. This year's events are guaranteed to tickle the interests of many people, and the 2012 Movember campaign is guaranteed to kick cancer in the butt. For Spoke TV, I'm Mike Sellish.
With the first snowfall of the holiday season just around the corner, everyone needs to be aware of how to get their cars winter safe and ready for the road. From changing your winter tires to pedestrian safety, Steph Snedden offers some tips on how to keep your car ready to go when the weather suddenly changes.
While the temperature begins to drop and the possibility of snow becomes more prominent, people in Waterloo region are preparing themselves with warm winter clothes. But are they preparing their cars? With winter weather approaching, it's important to ensure your car is winter safe and ready for the road. Statistics show that nearly 1.3 million people die each year on roads worldwide. Sergeant Scott Richardson from Waterloo Regional Police explains how to make sure you're driving safe this winter.
We always encourage people to leave themselves lots of time when they're going to their destination, make sure that they have their route planned well in advance and that their vehicle is in perfect working condition.
As the road conditions will inevitably worsen, making sure your car has quality winter tires will give you more traction on the road and will lessen the chance for skidding while braking or accelerating.
You have to leave a lot more distance between cars, you have to slow down, you have to plan in advance.
Holly Kavanagh, a Conestoga student who walks to school every day, describes why pedestrians should be cautious.
Walking across Homer Watson over there, I've seen a couple accidents there, and it hasn't even snowed or there's no ice or anything, so it kind of scares me a little bit.
As always, buckling up is the first step to staying safe. Avoid using cruise control, make sure your tank is always at least half full, and drive according to weather and road conditions. Getting a checkup on your car's battery, lights, brakes, heating and cooling system, and ignition system is crucial. Also be sure to equip your car with winter tires, good windshield wipers, and a roadside emergency kit this holiday season. For Spoke TV, I'm Stephanie Snedden.
Waterloo City Council is deciding what to do with the abandoned school they purchased, which has been vacant for more than 4 years. They assembled 3 plans, which outline how the school might be reused, and plan to vote on them in February. Sean Cassidy talked to community members and city staff about their action plans for the old building.
Here sits a vacant building, an old school in the Mary Allen Park neighborhood of Waterloo. It has sat empty for years and has gone up for sale on a few occasions. This time the city couldn't refuse. After all, they had the money to buy it. Money that was set aside to expand this little bit of green space through the parking lot behind me. But now with the old school added into the plan, what can be done with it? Well, last week they held a committee meeting consisting of 15 neighborhood volunteers and city staff to determine this. Debbie Lucas-Switzer, Director of Strategic Planning, Promotions and Performance with the city, believes that should be left up to local residents.
The neighborhood has to live with the outcome. So it's important to involve the neighborhood, because if they're not happy, if they haven't been listened to and their concerns haven't been heard, and their opportunities to tell staff, to tell council how they feel aren't provided, then it becomes a much less meaningful exercise.
An exercise that is the first of its kind in Waterloo and clearly means very much to some of the people living there, like Michelle Lee, a passionate neighborhood volunteer.
I would like to see the building reused adaptively. I think it's got a lot of cultural and heritage value in the neighborhood. It's already a fixture of the neighborhood, so I think that to be able to reuse it for a new purpose would be great.
Reused for such things like an arts hub or affordable housing with community space. But are these plans feasible? Mary Allen Park resident Terry Stewart doesn't think so.
Well, unlike most of my neighbors, I'd like to see the school mostly torn down and turned into what I'm calling an urban ruin park. By tearing down the building, we don't have to deal with all of the HVAC issues. We don't have to deal with the windows that are not very good. We don't have to deal with a lot of the factors that are there already. So the capital costs are going to be greatly cheaper.
Maybe so, but others don't think the cost should be the issue. Isabella Stefanescu, neighbor and artist, explains.
The building is actually beautiful in itself and would like it kept. So out of the solutions that were proposed, the one that I like least is the one that proposes tearing down the building. Between the other 2 solutions, the housing and arts/community center, I would go for the arts community center.
City staff and neighborly volunteers are assembling 3 models to be voted on, leaving the final say to the majority of hands at City Council this February. For Spoke TV, I'm Sean Cassidy.
With flu season fast approaching, Conestoga College's Health Services is offering free flu shots to help minimize the number of students who get sick. But is enough information about staying healthy available to keep students aware? Reporter Farah Love attacks the flu bug head-on to give students the information they need.
Hundreds of Conestoga College students fill the hallways each day, but with hundreds of students comes tons of germs. Flu shots are offered at Health Services located on the 1st floor, and all that's required is your health card. With flu season fast approaching, many students are looking to get their flu shot. However, are they given enough information? CSI President Kira tells us what she does to avoid getting sick the natural way.
I try and sleep a lot. It doesn't happen often, but I do try. I wash my hands, hand sanitize regularly, but really I don't. I just guess I'm lucky that I don't get sick.
Although Kira calls her good health luck, Krista Mulder, a registered practicing nurse, tells us how college students are most at risk for the flu.
Definitely is beneficial if you have a good immune system to avoid the flu shot, but the flu really likes everybody in general, so I feel if a student is tired, very rarely are students actually really never tired, so I think the student population is high risk for influenza A and should get the shot.
Some important tips to staying healthy this winter are keeping your hands clean by using hand sanitizer, remembering to cover your mouth when sneezing or coughing, and taking the adequate time to rest if or when you do become sick to ensure you don't pass flu-like symptoms along to your peers. Whether you're for or against the flu shot, the school as well as community offers many resources to help keep you flu-free this winter season. For Spoke TV, I'm Farah Love.
Each year, the Toronto Cat Rescue saves hundreds of cats who all need good homes. Recently, they held an adopt-a-thon at PetSmart on Fairway Road for people who are looking for a furry new addition to their family. Cats were brought in from the streets of Toronto to meet potential adopters. Reporter Meredith Taylor was at the event, watching friendships unfold.
This weekend, PetSmart on Fairway Road in Kitchener held an adopt-a-thon. With over 30 cats brought in from the Toronto Cat Rescue to choose from, there was lots of selection.
I'm here with Tobias. He's a 2-year-old orange male tabby. He was just rescued after being in a rural shelter for 2 months, and he's ready for adoption.
With every adoption, new cat owners received a free bag of food and litter. Plus, the store offered a wide variety of other cat products like cat carriers, treats, toys, and collars. Despite many onlookers falling in love with the cats, some were turned away as the screening process for possible adopters is enforced. Volunteer coordinator of Toronto Cat Rescue, Jennifer Cave, explains.
At adopt-a-thon events, we do screen on the spot. We have our trained volunteers here the whole time the adopt-a-thon's running, and we screen on the spot, which means then that they can take the cat home right away.
For Robin Carmichael, she wasn't expecting to adopt that day, but fell in love with a cat and couldn't leave her behind. There was many happy stories like Robin's.
I've been waiting and thinking about it and trying to get over my other cat, and then I saw this little girl, and I'm glad it was a Toronto Rescue. That's great.
If you're interested in adopting a cat, you can visit torontocatrescue.ca. For Spoke TV, I'm Meredith Taylor.
That's all we have for you this week. For Spoke TV, I'm Patricia Lico.
And I'm Chris Rook. For more campus news, visit spokeonline.com.